What is going on, everybody? My name is Kieran Hannon and I am back with another album review. Today we are reviewing the brand new Brockhampton album Iridescence. Following the release of three fantastic albums in 2017, Brockhampton are back with their fourth release, their first major studio release, their first album since Amir Vaughn's departure from the group. And so obviously 2017 and 2018 have been like a tumultuous time for the group. But 9 months later we have the first Brockhampton album since the closing of the Saturation trilogy. So this is taking kind of a new direction, or a new chapter in the Brockhampton career. So obviously things looked uncertain at times for Brockhampton leading up to the release of this album, with it being delayed, the album name being changed 3 times. But we're here, we have the album. Let's see what Brockhampton have in store. The switch to a major label is felt throughout this project. It is really embedded in the DNA of Iridescence. The beats, the production, it's cleaner, thicker, more colourful. It's just as vibrant, but with another sheen of polish over the top. The first song, New Orleans, carries on the Brockhampton tradition of starting with something aggressive, pounding, captivating, that'll instantly draw you in, but also just super sticky, super catchy. The song New Orleans achieves that in spades. Brockhampton's affinity for really aggressive and sticky tracks is obviously still here, and it is really the way Brockhampton have opened up all of their previous works. Something super heavy hitting and super surprising. I remember I was pretty late to the Brockhampton train, and when I listened to their first album and I heard the song Heat, I was like, straight away, I was like, whoa, okay, I get it. This song features vocal contributions from Jaden Smith, and they're done way more tastefully than I had expected. He actually adds some nice features to this album. One of my favorite tracks on the album is the song Wait. It is one of the most personal, heartfelt, and just gritty, just depressing tracks that Brockhampton have released to date. The strings that are laced throughout the track are just beautiful, and they really suck you in. They really make you hang on to this track, and you feel the weight of everything that's being said. Everyone's verses, every line is sharp. It just feels so dark, so gloomy. You just feel the emotion, you feel the toll that fame and everything that they're talking about has taken on these guys. It features Kevin Abstract's best feature on the album, or best contributions to the album, and Joba, who's someone who, after the Saturation trilogy, he was pretty much like the punching bag of Brockhampton fans. As far as I know, he was one of the guys where people are like, this guy's not really useful. He steals this track for me, the best contributions to the track, and I'm going to talk about him throughout this album because he really brought it on this project. His first verse features this brilliant whirling, spinning kind of production, and his outro is just so dark, so deep, and just so heavy feeling, where he just keeps going, pressure makes me, whatever, you know. It's just done in such a way he feels so broken and so stressed out. It just perfectly sounds to complement what he's saying. The following track, District, features this pulse-pounding bass, these whirling sirens, and guitar licks laced throughout, and it just doesn't work. It's an example of Brockhampton doing stuff that they usually do, and they usually do well, and it just doesn't work, and this happens a lot on this album, more so than anything on the Saturation trilogy. District feels like the basic blueprint to me to a normal Brockhampton song, but everything's just being added, and it just feels so messy. And there's, not that I'd say there's too much going on, because in most of my favourite Brockhampton works, there is just so much going on, and you're like, how does this sound pleasing? But in District, it just feels messy, and everything just takes away from everything else instead of adding to it. But for every song like District, we have just so many songs that just sound way better, just work way better. The lead single from this album basically does everything District did, but just right. It just, instead of every element subtracting, it just adds, it blends together to make something pleasing to listen to. The whining synths and droning bass just captivate you, drag you in, and make sure you are going to be nodding your head along to the beat by the time this song is over. This is another song where I really feel Joba steals the show. He's rapping really quick, aggressively, frantically, Just really great stuff. The song Honey is a straight bop. 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 It's a bop. Kevin Abstract's bridge is just so unbelievably sticky. Just go, and if you've never heard a Brockhampton song, this might be a good foot in the door if you're not going to just listen to the albums. I think this song, as well as, you know, like their more popular songs from the Saturation trilogy, songs like Bleach, Heat, Gold, this is one of those songs that I think is going to blow up. It's so sticky. It's really nice. Really funky, really fun to listen to. Don McLennan's verse on this track is also really stands out with his stop-start flow. I just really enjoy that. It's another song on this album with sirens, swirling, really loud, sometimes obnoxious synths, but done right. The second half of this album definitely feels more focused than the first. I do feel like most of the weaker tracks were towards the first half of the album. Not to say that the first half of the album was, you know, void of good tracks. I mean, this is a decent album, and sometimes, you know, I'm harder on something I like, like a band or a group that I enjoy, like I enjoy Brockhampton, so it might feel like I'm being a little bit harder, but I really did enjoy this album. The song Vivid is a more conventional, straightforward, hard-hitting rap song. Bareface sounds like a girl on this song, which a lot of people have pointed out before, but I mean, I didn't know who this was, like, doing Bareface's bit in this song when I first heard it, so when I looked it up and I was like, a male? What? It's another moment on this album that kind of slows down at bits, and you really feel the emotion, and every line just sticks. The song Tanya is a slower ballad-like song with this piano intro. It's another moment on this album where everything is slower, everything's more hard-hitting, and every lyric just has that extra level of just... They're singing and rapping about unstable fame, the effect that all of these things have had on the group, and it features Marilyn Woods' best contribution to the album as a whole. While overall I don't think that this is as almost perfect as the Saturation trilogy, there isn't really anything on this album or anything about going to a major label that has made me feel like Brockhampton have cried foul at this. The fact that they have put out so much music in such a short span of time really made me worry for Brockhampton. I mean, I couldn't really get fully excited for this when people are still riding the high that was the Saturation trilogy from last year. I mean, to release another album 9 months later is a ridiculously short turnaround, but when you've put out 3 albums last year, that's kind of insane. But to have 4 full-length projects in 2 years be of such high quality, these guys are just immeasurably talented, and sky's the limit for these guys. Brockhampton in my eyes are 4 for 4, and I mean, I'm really excited to see how this trilogy plays out. But this album, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So guys, what did you think of Brockhampton's new album? Leave a comment. Let's have a little talk about it. You can like the video if you liked it. You can dislike it if you didn't. Constructive criticism, please, if you have any, feel free. You can follow me on Twitter, easiest way to keep up with me. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Peace.